Well, our CBN chief political correspondent, David Brody, is with us now. And David, is this summit going to take place, in your opinion, or not?
It's hard to say at this point, Pat. My guess is, or my thinking right now, at least from an analytical point of view, is, yeah, I think it will take place. I think this is all posturing on both sides. As a matter of fact, White House sources telling me this morning that the president willing to walk away from the summit for sure. At the same time, the White House acknowledging that, look, the North Koreans are looking to see what they can get from America, from this administration, before June 12th even arrives. And so a lot of this is that back and forth that we see all the time in negotiations. And look, this is Donald Trump's bread and butter, art of the deal. You notice, Pat, what he always says. He says, if the meeting happens, great. If it doesn't happen, that's fine too. It's okay. He does that on purpose. Clearly, he is signaling to say, look, I don't want to show you that I'm desperate at all for this meeting, because if you show desperation and you see let the other side see that you're sweating, then the problems ensue.
He laid some of the blame on China on Kim's exchange. What do you know about that?
Yeah, I think this is part of, it's interesting, this relationship between President Xi of China and the president. It's a very cordial, very friendly relationship. That's on the personal side of it. Of course, when we get into trade and we get into North Korea and their relationship with China, that's a whole different ballgame. And so I think there's a bit of a maneuvering going on both sides. I think the question then becomes for this administration, what do they do with China? Because they clearly need China when it comes to North Korea. At the same time, they need to work with them on trade. And so I think this has always been a very delicate balancing act for the White House. And it's frustrated the president to a degree, because he has this good relationship with President Xi, and I think he wants things to work out. But at this point, there is way too much at this point unknown, and he, being President Trump, doesn't want to show his hand too much right now.
David, to go domestic, he's concerned about the fact that there was some professor who was embedded in his campaign who was actually an FBI informant. How serious is he about going after the FBI?
He's pretty serious about it, Pat. Obviously, not just on Twitter, but look, one of the beautiful things about what's happening with CBN right now is we have some serious access over there inside the West Wing. And I can tell you that when I'm over there, obviously Ben Kennedy, our White House correspondent, Jenna Browder over there on the West Wing as well. I can tell you, talking to folks within the White House, the president's dead serious about this. Look, I think their view of it is they want to see transparency. They want to say that, hey, look, this isn't just about Donald Trump's campaign. This is about, in essence, democracy and what it stands for, and what's going to happen the next time around for someone else's campaign. And that's truly the feeling. You know, the liberal media will say, oh, all Donald Trump cares about is him and his campaign. The White House doesn't see it that way. The president doesn't even see it that way. I can tell you that. Being around the West Wing quite often, I can tell you without a doubt that they are very concerned about transparency on this issue, and that's what they want to make sure happens here.
Well, the vice president has said it's time to end this Russian probe. Is there any chance that they're going to wrap it up, as Giuliani has indicated, by September?
That seems to be pretty doubtful at this point. I don't see it wrapping up. I know they brought Giuliani in, and folks inside the White House believe he's been doing a really good job as it relates to being forceful out there. And I know he's been hit in the media by some of the facts that have gone a bit astray. Even some folks in the White House admitting that, you know, hey, he just got on board and he didn't maybe have all of his facts straight. But the truth of the matter is, ultimately, they think Rudy Giuliani is doing a very good job because he knows Mueller and he's pushing this. Now, here's the interesting part here, Pat. It's not just Giuliani. You've got Mark Penn, a former Clinton advisor, coming out saying, you know, enough is enough on Mueller. You have Vice President Pence obviously saying the same things. And you go down the list. Ari Fleischer, the former White House press secretary under George Bush, now coming out. He would be part of the establishment, if you will. But he's also saying it's time basically to end this Mueller investigation. So you're starting to see a broader spectrum of conservatives now starting to say that, which bodes well for the White House, because it's not just Trump, Pence, and the administration.
Have there been any leaks of what the Inspector General's report's going to show on this thing about Hillary Clinton and how the FBI handled that?
Not yet, specifically as in terms of leaks, but there is a sense that inside the report it will indeed show that the FBI just in essence, was dormant or did not do much at all when it came to this investigation, that they should have done much more. And I can tell you this, talking to some White House sources this morning, they believe that there is a clear double standard, and they hope that that IG report, that Inspector General report, will actually show what that double standard is that basically that with Donald Trump, it's everybody after Donald Trump and the campaign and Russia and all of that. But when it comes to Hillary Clinton and the email scandal, that this IG report will show that, you know what? It was a whole different ballgame the way the FBI and the Inspector General's office, or excuse me, the Attorney General's office went after or did not go after Hillary Clinton. They want to expose this double standard, and that's the view inside the White House.
Any criminal involvement, do you think? Any criminal charges are going to be made against them?
Hard to say. I know there's some of this, if you want to call it an off-the-record push, to see that done at many different levels inside, not so much the White House, but just inside Washington. But having said that, you know, Trey Gowdy and some others just want to, Trey Gowdy being one of the key leaders in the House on all of this, they just want to get to the bottom of all of this. There's no sense of that right now, Pat.
Okay. David, thank you so much for being with us. David Brody, our